Hello, my name is Connor Granis, and today we're going to talk about the robot tax. We'll discuss the background, the positives and negatives to this idea, and analyze the possible outcomes this tax could have on our economy. So first of all, what is the robot tax? The robot tax is a tax placed on machinery in the workforce to prevent growing inequality and has been advocated for by Bill Gates. Lower class workers are losing job opportunities to advanced technology. Taxing this machinery could prevent growing unemployment rates and distribute more wealth to the poor. So how would it work? The belief is that taxing capital will discourage firms from using too much machinery. Currently, robots are often able to work more efficiently than typical workers at a much lower cost. If they are taxed, however, labor will become more appealing again, leading to less unemployment and inequality. In this graph, studies were compared to see how many jobs are at risk for being taken over by automation. There were varying results between the three studies, with PWZ and FO both finding much larger percentages than AWZ. However, the thread is clear. There are jobs that could be done completely by robots, making the use of labor in these areas obsolete. Here, we can see why this trend may be taking place. Originally, using technology in the workforce was not as profitable due to their cost. In recent years, however, the prices on such automation has plummeted down due to many advancements that allow these machines to be made cheaper and cheaper. Suddenly, the cost of adding robots is more financially logical than adding labor, leading to less employment being needed. One of the downsides to this tax would be that firms are being forced to spend more money, either on the robot tax or on increased wages. The loophole of using capital to limit costs will be taken away, leading to less financial gain for businesses. In addition, productivity would decrease if this tax was enacted. Typically, robots are more efficient and effective than workers. However, the tax will lead to less robots being used in the workforce. The lack of technology would decrease productivity in many firms. Another downside to this tax could be the discouragement of technological innovation. If robots are taxed, firms will not purchase advanced machinery as much. The demand will go down, and technology producers will slow down their production levels and stop looking for innovations to improve technology even further. On the other hand, workers would benefit greatly from this policy. The robot tax not only limits job destruction, allowing more people to remain employed, but it also slows down the transition toward machinery. This gives workers time to adjust to these changes and find alternatives, rather than suddenly taking away their job with little time for preparation. The tax allows for increased government spending since firms would have to pay the government either through this policy or through taxes on labor wages. As a result, the government could spend this money on programs that assist those losing their jobs to machinery and reduce the growing levels of inequality. There are many people and concepts that would benefit greatly from this policy. Many would be able to avoid unemployment, lower class citizens can receive more benefits from government spending, and overall social inequality will be reduced. On the other side of things, however, there are definitely some people and movements that would lose if this policy was enacted. Firms would have to have more costs from either labor wages or the robot tax. Technology manufacturers would not profit as much due to demand for robots declining, and productivity and innovation would slow down as businesses start to use machinery less. Now, in order to understand how this policy could change the labor market, we must first understand exactly how the labor market has developed recently. As seen in this graph, the national hourly wage rate has been on a steady increase over the last 50 years. Meanwhile, the cost for robots has been declining steeply. Not to mention, these robots are completing the work of 2 regular shifts. All this considered, it is easy to see why robots in the workforce have increasingly become more popular compared to traditional workers. However, the robot tax would shift the prices of these robots upward to the point that they are nearly equal with labor wage rates. When the costs increase, the demand for these robots should decline while the demand for labor increases, hopefully depleting some of the surplus of labor that we have seen in our growing unemployment rates. Once this policy is settled in, the labor market should shift in a way that slows down the transition toward machinery and aims closer to an equilibrium in the supply and demand for labor. However, we should note that it will not fully prevent unemployment, and there is a possibility firms elect to keep using machinery despite their increased costs. So overall analysis. The robot tax clearly has a lot of possible benefits. Inequality has become a massive issue in the US, with the upper class continuing to get richer while the lower class gets poorer. The wage gap is growing larger and larger, and while the robot tax won't solve that problem on its own, it certainly could be a step in the right direction. By increasing costs of firms and giving more benefits to workers and the lower class, this tax has the potential to at least slow down the growing economic inequality. However, there are still some negatives worth considering. Technological innovation will take a massive hit as the demand for advancements in these machineries grows down. This not only hurts these businesses, but it also could be harmful to society, as our increasingly efficient technological systems will suddenly calm down, which could leave our technologically advanced society somewhat stagnant. All things considered, I still believe the robot tax should be enacted. While I understand it is not a perfect solution, I feel that slowing down innovation somewhat is a necessary evil if this tax could prevent inequality from growing even more. There will always be a demand for more technology, even if it declines a little bit from this tax. However, machinery is quickly making some jobs obsolete, and I feel preventing unemployment and inequality should be prioritized. Convincing stakeholders in business to support this idea could prove difficult. Clearly, they do not earn many benefits from this policy at first glance. However, I would remind them of who this policy does help: the consumers. Simply put, if there are a lot of people poor and unemployed, they will not have money to purchase whatever product is being sold by businesses. Therefore, business will benefit in the long term if the robot tax reduces unemployment rates, for there will be a greater consumer population willing to purchase their goods, even if that means they lose some profits in the short term. In terms of discussing this topic with politicians, I do not believe they would require quite as much convincing. Unemployment and the increasing wage gap have been a problem in our society and economy for a very long time now. If our economy is to fully prosper, the lower class needs more benefits to have a bigger role in both the labor market and the consumer market. Increasing taxes on machinery increases government spending, which therefore increases money spent on beneficial programs for the poor. Reducing inequality has not been a big enough concern in our government, and if we are to change this trend, this tax is a perfect way to start. Thank you for listening. Have a good one.